You often hear that the deep roster battles, they're really going to take place more so on special teams than they are with the thought or the foresight of like, oh, if we get down to the third guy, this is the guy. With that in mind, when I started to look at the defensive line, and I was going back and researching how many defensive linemen we've kept underneath, Nick Sirianni and his staff, right, with Howie. We know how he plays a part in these decisions. When I looked at the type of players that were there and how they're utilized on special teams, oh man, you come away with some very, very interesting points about these guys. There's 5 guys today I want to talk about in particular. The 2 big names that you're going to hear me talk about today are Jordan Davis and then Milton Williams. Obviously, those 2 guys are going to make the 53-man roster. But I want to talk about the way the Eagles may perceive the depth behind them. Marlon Tuipulotu. I want to talk about Kentavius Street. And I want to talk about Moro Ojomo. Because I got to tell you, the fight, even Noah Ellis factors into this, the fight for those last remaining roster spots in the interior defensive line, it is going to be one of the best battles that's going to take place during camp. I'm excited because we got some dudes that can actually play ball. There's not enough roster spots for everybody. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. What's up, Cerebral football fans? My name is Steven Hyder. This is Gate City Sports Channel. Hey, real fast, guys, I just want to thank y'all so much for, helping me out and buying the actual guide, the training camp guide for the offensive linemen. It's 60-some pages. It's $4.99. It absolutely helps, put money forth this channel that gives me time to do other things and gives me time to actually write other guides, gives me time to create videos for you guys. So for y'all that already pitched in and bought that, I appreciate you guys. If you're interested in buying it, look down below to the description, hit the more button, and then you'll see a link where you can go purchase the 60-some page offensive line guide for 2023's training camp. Interior defensive linemen. So when I was looking at the interior defensive linemen, I noticed that there's 2 places, depending on the skill set, that they will primarily help themselves out with, right? Everybody kind of on the interior defensive line, if you're talented enough, you're going to be on the field goal block team, okay? So, that goes for Jordan Davis, that goes for Marlon Tuipulotu, that goes for Milton Williams, that goes for Kentavius Street, that goes for Moro Ojomo, that goes for Noah Ellis. No matter who you view it, right? We know Jordan Davis, we know Milton Williams are secure on the roster, but no matter how you view it, if you're a young player, veteran guys like Brandon Graham are on that team. So that's the first place where you're always going to contribute, irregardless of your body frame, your style, your athleticism, what you are. You normally are found on that special teams play in particular, special teams, team. It's weird to say team twice, in particular. However, when I looked at the bigger body frames, right? When I looked at the Marlon Tuipulotus, when I looked at the Jordan Davises, I found something unique about those 2 guys, right? These are guys that have experience in college playing down as a nose, right? Now we know that Marlon Tuipulotu is used differently. Inside the NFL, we don't necessarily put him on the nose unless it's an emergency situation. But those guys also actually play on the extra point and field goal team. They're used as blockers. And so, that's unique, right? That's a physical body strength. If you look at a guy like Noah Ellis, if Noah Ellis is going to be a guy that they retain on the roster and they go heavy at defensive line, he's going to be the backup nose tackle. That would be his calling card, is that he could back up Jordan Davis. I don't know that they're going to expend a roster spot for that. But if they did, the other thing about him is he would have to contribute on that field goal team, the extra point team. He's got to be able to do that as well. Or else you're kind of just there just in case, and you're kind of wasting a roster spot on you. It becomes a bit of a problem, right? All right, Milton Williams and Kentavius Street are 2 veteran guys I can take a look at. And when I looked at Milton Williams, when I looked at Kentavius Street, and I looked at Moro Ojomo, there's some very, very obvious similarities here. Starting with the 6'2" to 6'3" frame, right? And all these dudes are around 285 to 295, right? They're in that weight range per se. They're all really closely related there. Now I will say that Milton Williams is an incredible athlete. Smaller arms, 31.5-inch arm reach, not the biggest arm reach dude, but he is completely made up of power. The young man put up like 34 reps on the bench press. He's a very strong man. He ran, a 1.66-10 split. He jumped 38 inches in the vertical. He had 120, I think, 1-inch broad jump. His over 120-inch broad jump. Milton Williams he's that dude. He's very athletically gifted, right? Kentavius Street. The crazy thing about Kentavius Street is he pulled his hamstring when he was actually running at the combine. And this was back in 2018. Remember, Kentavius Street was Bruce Feldman's #1 freak athlete. That Bruce Feldman freak list, it included guys such as Saquon Barkley. It included Vita Vey. It included Letton Vander Esch. I mean, it included a lot of guys that were pretty dang good. Derwin James, really good football players. And the number one guy, it happened to be Kentavius Street. And the reason being, and I remember Kentavius Street because he's an NC State guy. I went to school at NC State. I followed the program. I know the guys. I remember everything he did there. He's a freak athlete, guys. He pulled his hamstring. But before that, the year prior at NC State, he ran a 4.58 40 and jumped 40 inches in the vertical leap. Outside of, that 4.58 40 and a 40-inch vertical leap, I think he was benching, I remember the reports were like 475 was what he was working out with on the bench, and I think he was squatting like 700 pounds. Like, the dude is kind of like Milton Williams, where he's a little longer, 32.88 inches, just short of 33 inches in the arm reach, a little bit more lengthier, but he's an explosive athlete, kind of like Milton Williams. I would say that he's strong. He's very, very physically gifted. I would say Milton Williams is like, that dude's just ridiculous, man. The last guy, Moro Ojomo. Similar body style guy, 6'3", 292 pounds. But when I look at Ojomo, he's reach and length. That's what he is. He can play with great leverage because of his body frame. Moro Ojomo has like 34.5-inch arm reach at 290 pounds and 6'3". Guys, that's the kind of arm reach you see out of dudes that play in the nose tackle position. Jordan Davis is 34 inches, right? It's guys like that. It's guys that are playing down inside like that have that type of reach. And this guy is going to be very, very good against the run. And he was showing some signs of being able to actually rush the passer. All three of these dudes are such good athletes. And the reason I bring this up is because not only were they on that field goal block unit, okay? However, they were on punt return. They used these guys on punt return. I'm not joking. I'm not talking about high amounts of reps. They were such good athletes that Milton Williams, Kentavius Street, and Moro Ojomo all played on the punt return unit during their time either in college or in the pros. Obviously, the first two guys played a little bit in the pros because they're professional athletes right now. We're still waiting for Ojomo. All these dudes are gifted. All these dudes are talented. I'm telling you, when I look at what's going to be the fascinating race, what's going to be the competition, one of the actual battles I'm going to be watching for is the interior defensive line. They have some decisions to make in regards to the depth. Do you want to back up nose tackle? How much do you value that, right? Marlon Tuipulotu has been around the organization for a while. They used a draft pick on him. Was a little underwhelming in my opinion last year. I don't think he was quite as good as they were hoping to be, but new season, could come back, could be better. But he's coming off an injury, right? You look at Noah Ellis, big physical guy, not as big in the arm reach as you would think. You think he'd be a little bit more of a lengthier athlete, and he's not that type of guy, honestly. He's just big and strong. He's a nose tackle, right? He's a guy that could probably play on your field goal block unit, and you're hoping could make an impact if you need him on your extra point and field goal unit as a blocker. And then you get to the athletic guys, right? The guys that would be kind of being used in similar roles to Milton Williams. The Moro Ojomo, who probably has enough reach and leverage to play with that would be disruptive against the run. Kentavius Street, he's another freak athlete like Milton Williams. This is a guy that is a disruptor on the interior. He can make you pay if you're not careful. There's not enough space for everybody. I think that battle's going to be quite good. I think you have to know the role on the team, and I think you have to know how you fit on special teams and what the need is for you on that special teams unit. All right, y'all, don't forget the guide. If you want to purchase the guide, guys, hit that link down below. It's $4.99. It greatly helps the channel out, guys. I put a lot of effort, a lot of time into it. It's over 60 pages on the offensive line, guys. I cover everything from the structure that Andy Reid brought to this organization to the evolution to the Eagles carrying 9 to 10 offensive linemen pretty much on an annual basis, how that occurred, to talking about the right guard battle, talking about Dennis Kelly and the Jack Driscoll conversation and what happens there as a sixth man off the bench. I mean, we cover a lot, guys. I go into in-depth on some of these undrafted free agents that, you probably would have to really spend a lot of time to kind of learn a little bit about these guys. And I took all that time I spent, condensed it for you into a couple of pages so you can learn about them a little bit. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time and attention. I'll see you guys on the next video.